What's crappin'? Welcome to Under the Foreskin, a show dedicated to happening to the SJU and Misfits Fantasy Football League. My name is Kyle. I'm the head of football operations for the first place playoff clinch Potomac Pretenders, the voice of SJU and Misfits Fantasy Football. And I'm here with two special guests today. The vice president of football operations for the Poughkeepsie Pandas, the rebuilding Poughkeepsie Pandas, Tyler Olson, is in the house. And also Roger Schlachter, the equipment manager for the Sioux City Smugglers, 7-4 Sioux City Smugglers. He's also here. You're not going to hear a ton from them today. They're going to talk about their week 12 matchups. I'm going to race through everything. We're going to talk a little bit of playoffs between the three of us. So with that, let's get it going. Under the Foreskin, Week 12, Week 11 matchups. Headline reads, Smugglers forget to show up. Pretenders look like the real deal. Potomac, 109. Sioux City Smugglers, 53. 5 in double figures for my Pretenders. McCoy, 26. Nicky Foles, 21. Both new additions to my Pretenders. Thank you, Dave. They both had nice days. You know, I had some poor players out there. I didn't write down who, but either way, scored 109 points. Feel good. And it didn't matter because the Smugglers put up a 50 burger total. Not good. Gronk with 11, only guy in double fingers. AJ Green with a big old donut. Don't see that very often. Andre Ellington, 1 point. Reggie Bush on grass. He always struggles. 3 points. Next up, Prairie Dogs squeeze out a victory over the Flint Tropics. 112-93. For Crapstone, Calvin Johnson, 30 points. Marshawn Lynch, 23 points, 3 touchdowns. I think between those two, they had 5 touchdowns. That's going to get it done most weeks. AP only was 6, and Pierre Garcon also only was 6. So, you know, not what he's looking for out of his monster lineup that he puts out there every week. But I guess when you got that many guys who can hit big weeks, you're generally going to have some that do. See Calvin and Marshawn. For the Tropics, Matthew Stafford, 22 points. Unfortunately, most of those went to Calvin. And Harry Douglas with 20 points. Another nice week out of Harry. Jordan Cameron, 2 points. Aaron Dobson, 3 points. And he left 70 points on the bench. Bobby Rainey? Yeah, Bobby Rainey. Had 35. Does he crack the lineup? I don't know. Tough to say. And I can't remember who the other guy was. Michael Floyd didn't make the lineup, and he had 26 points. So between those two, there's 61 points. Tough to see that on your pine. Headline reads, Buffalo Armadillos get a win, but they would have rather have lost and scored 100 points. Buffalo 79 beat the Dodgers 77. Josh Gordon, Julius Thomas, both in double figures, 19 and 10 points. You know, no big weeks out of anyone. Darren Sproles, 2 points. He got a dinger to the dome, not feeling good. Keenan Allen left with 4 points and a bad knee. Not what you're looking for out of that guy, as he's been a nice pickup this year. For the Dodgers, Greg Olson, Brandon LaFell, both had 11 points this week. Nice on Monday Night Football to make the Dillos sweat a little bit. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough with Willis McGahee scoring 1 and Mark Ingram scoring 2. Chernobyl traveled to Poughkeepsie to take on the Pandas. Headline reads, Tin Whiskers continue triple-digit scoring. They crushed the Pandas. 107-68. Cincy D. Every week there's somebody for the Tin Whiskers that stands out. This week it was Cincy's D turn. 30 burger, 30 points. 5 in double figures outside that. Pretty solid all around. I guess the only weak point I can point out is Michael Bennett with 4 points. He's a tight end, though, and that's kind of been the story of tight ends this week. Or this year, pardon me. For the Pandas, 68 points total. Mike Glennon, nice start, 17. Antonio Gates, freshly acquired for Jimmy Graham, with a nice $35 for next year's auction in his pocket. He had 11, so got a touchdown. Good week for Antonio. CJ Spiller continues to be a head shaker, 1 point. Riley Cooper, after 3 monster weeks, scores 3 points. And Brian Leonard, I'm sorry you got the wrong Tampa Bay running back, 3 points. Polish Sausage Wallets, they went to Hollywood this week. Headline reads, Sausage Wallets can't win big one. Hotties come back on Monday Night Football. Sausage Wallets 93, Hotties 96. RG3, Ray Rice, and Donald Brown all with 20 burgers for the Sausage Wallets. But Jets D with 1 point. Streaming D's didn't work out this week. And Jordan Reed also left with a dinger to the dome. 1 point for him. For the Hotties, Antonio Brown, monster week at the right time. 27 points, in need of a big game from him. They got it. Chicago D, 17. Russell Wilson, 18 against the Vikes, and it didn't even look like he was trying. Percy Harvin only got one of those points, though. Not the week they were hoping for in his first week back, I'm sure, in Hollywood. But knowing that he's on the bench, they got to feel good. D'Angelo Williams with 2 points against the Patriots on Monday Night Football. Yeah, he sucks. Border Collies, they went to Gnawbone in a big game. A game that featured a 6-4 team and a 7-3 team. 6-4 team got the win. Border Collies lift leg and piss all over the Bud Pirates' chance of winning the league. 107-89 this week for the Border Collies. Rashad Jennings, 22. Matt Forte, 18. Seattle D with 20. There they are. Marvin Jones, the big old donut this week. Not what he was hoping for. That second wide receiver playing the Browns. And Jimmy Graham, the new toy, only got 4 this week. For the Butte Pirates, Cam with 26. Adam Vinatieri with 15. Been pretty solid this year. Unfortunately, the fun has run out on Freddie Jackson. 3 points. Frank Gore's been struggling. 4 points. And Danny Woodhead, a new player for the Butte Pirates. He only scored 3 this week. Next up, Tallahassee Trouser Snakes. They went to Waco to take on the Wrinkle Beasts. A lot of road teams winning this week, I'm seeing. Big win for the only snake in the league, David Treadle, 107-76. 19 out of the New York Giants for the Wrinkle Beasts and 14 out of Ryan Matthews. Other than that, it was pretty much Wrinkle Beasts as standard. Mike Wallace, 3 points. Why'd you trade Vincent Jackson? Pettigrew, 3 points. Why is Pettigrew on your team? Emmanuel Sanders with the donut. I guess he's okay, but he scored 0 points, so that sucks. For the Trouser Snakes, VJax 23, CJ 2K with 20, Chris Ivory with 15. Obviously a really nice week for those 3 players. T-Rich, he's a new Trouser Snake. He got 5. I'm actually going to say that's a positive for T-Rich this year. 5 points is a pretty good number for him. Doubling the output of normal. Steve Smith was 6. Pretty solid week up and down for the Trouser Snakes. Waiver Wire Wednesday this week. There was only one player worth talking about. Delaney Walker went to the Poughkeepsie Pandas for $15. I smell a big 2 tight end set in the near future for the Pandas. Trades this week, there were some. They were interesting this week. I'll start at the beginning. Right before Sunday's games, Jay Cutler was dealt from my Potomac Pretenders for a much-needed tight end. I got Charles Clay back on the squad. Wish he never would have left. He had a nice game for me with 90 and a touchdown or something around there. He came from the Dillos, so Dillos looking to stack up on quarterbacks for the playoffs. Hopefully they make it. And for my Pretenders, I just needed a tight end to battle with Rob Gronkowski this week. Next up, Cecil Shorts was dealt from the Sioux City Smugglers to the Sausage Waltz for Lamar Miller in a trade of meaningless players. Let's move on. Lamar Miller was then dealt to Pierre Thomas. Lamar Miller was obtained by the Poughkeepsie Pandas, and Pierre Thomas was obtained by the Sioux City Smugglers. So in essence, the Sioux City Smugglers could have just traded, Cecil for Pierre Thomas. We would have ended up in the same place. So thanks for making me talk more, you two. Way to go. Obviously, Pierre Thomas, nice play this week against the Falcons. I'm sure Roger is looking forward to inserting Pierre into his lineup. For Lamar Miller, he might sniff the lineup for the Pandas. I'm not sure, will he? Got no options. He's in. Put him in. All right. We're gonna talk playoffs right now. I'm gonna go over the standings first, and we're gonna get everyone's thoughts on playoff teams and what we think will happen with only 2 weeks remaining. So with a little star by their name, the 8-2-1 Poughkeepsie Pandas, the Potomac Pretenders, have locked up a playoff spot. There's 1,013 points for, 903 points against. I played Great D. I don't have the first place seed locked up, obviously, but I do have playoff berth wrapped up. Also true for the Crapstone Prairie Dogs. They're locked for the playoffs at 8-3. They're in second, all alone. Third place, Gnawbone Puke Pirates, one of 3 teams at 7-4 with 1,029 points. They're on a 3-game losing streak, though. You better pick up your shit, Zach. Gnawbone Puke. Baton Rouge Border Collies in 4th place. They're all alone. Well, also at 7-4, but with 1,016 points scored. Sioux City Smugglers also at 7-4, 998 points scored. That's good for 5th place. nipping at their heels. That tie is not looking good right now, but the Flint Tropics are in the playoffs if it ended today. 6-4-1, 989 points scored. Chernobyl Tin Whiskers in 7th, probably should have a star by their name with as many points scored as they have. They're 6-5, 1,096 points for, and in 8th place in the playoffs if it ended today, but it doesn't. The Buffalo Armadillos 4-7, 994 points scored. Close behind, looking for that last wild card spot. The Tallahassee Trouser Snakes 6-5, 974 points scored, only 20 points behind Jack. Sausage Wallets nipping at their heels. They're 5-6, 971, so only 3 points behind Dave. 11th, Hollywood Hotties 5-6, 970, so only 4 points behind Dave. Wow, that's tight. And then the 3 selling the farms. Poughkeepsie Pandas 4-7, 940, not out of it, but they're out of it. Yeah, let's face the facts. Duluth Draft Dodgers 929 at 2-9. And the Waco Wrinkle Bees, full 100 and some points behind at 1-10, 795 points for. So what's going to happen in the playoffs? Let's see. Should I talk first? Should Tyler talk first? Let's have Roger talk first. Let's get a great football mind's thoughts on this, and he can tell us what he thinks is going to go down.
Well, thanks, Kyle. I don't know. So far, we got the Pretenders and Prairie Dogs. They're locked in. Prairie Dogs are looking real good. As for the rest of it, though, I mean, it's really up in the air between those middle teams. I mean, it's very possible that the 7-4 teams could all lose out, and some of these guys that are 6-5 could sneak up in there on record. I think the one thing that is certain is Chernobyl Tin Whiskers are going, whether it's record or points. Either way, I think they got some sort of playoff spot locked up, which is great because they were my pick for one of the worst drafts. So it shows you how much I know. But I think the Smugglers and the Border Collies also get in on record. I think the Flint Tropics might be the first team out. I think that tie might actually hurt them in the long run. The Trouser Snakes and Sausage Wallets are going to duke it out. I think the Trouser Snakes might actually sneak in there. I don't know. Dave's he's making moves like crazy, and he's got a good winning streak going right now. So we'll see how that all works out. But I'm going to go with what does that put me at? That puts me at, 5, 6 teams in? Yeah, on 7, yeah. And I really hope to see the Armadillos sneak into that 8th place spot again and give the first place team a little upset that I've experienced the last 2 years. So with that, I think I'll give it over to Tyler and see what he's thinking.
Roger summed it up pretty well. I mean, obviously we got Pretenders, the crap dogs in. Chernobyl, if they win out, they could even be a number 2 seed. Well, no, not a 2 seed. They could be a 3 seed, though. Regardless, they're going to make it no matter what. They could score 50 points a week and probably still make a run at it. As far as the 7-4 teams and the 6-win teams, I mean, Jesus Christ, what the hell is going to happen with that? I know, I believe we got, let's see here. Gnawbone's got kind of a tough end with Pretenders and the Hotties. That could either be win-win, could be loss-loss. Baton Rouge, they end with Trouser Snakes, Potomac. So that really puts the ball on Kyle. If his team doesn't perform, both those teams could end with at least one more win, if not 2. And then it's, I mean, hell, then you got a team at 8-4, 2 teams at either 8-5 or 9-5, and it's just, who the hell knows with this right now. I think my sleeper pick this year, I think the Tropics get in there. I think they make the run. They've been doing it all year with, I mean, who the hell knows what they got in that lineup, but they somehow seem to keep on winning. Go Flint, go Tropics, baby.
All right, I've put a little bit of thought into this, and by a little bit I mean like 10 minutes before we started this thing. I like the Potomac Pretenders to win out 10-2-1 because I like my team to win. I'd love to win that league, get that little bit of a ching for for the home mortgage here in the Under the Foreskin studios. And to be honest, I would embrace the 8th seed. I'd love to play them week 1 of the playoffs. No fear. Crapstone, I think, is a solid second place. I think they lose this week to the Wrinkle Beast, and I think they win against the Trouser Snakes in the last game of the season. So they're 9-4. They're locked in second place. Chernobyl Tin Whiskers, I got them in third, 8-5. I think they win out. Coming up, the Chernobyl Tin Whiskers have the Buffalo Armadillos. I think they wax the Dillos. And then they play the Flint Tropics, and I think they sneak out a win against the Flint Tropics. 4th seed, I like the Butte Pirates at 8-5. They will have the same record as Chernobyl, but not as many points scored. Border Collies are going to go 1-1 in the last 2. They go 8-5. They're going to lose to me. They're going to win this week. Smugglers also go 8-5. That puts them in 6th place. I think they go 1-1 in the next 2 weeks. Flint Tropics, I also think go 1-1 in the next 2 weeks. They finish 7-5-1, but get in on points. I think they have nice scoring weeks, but they take a tough loss to whoever they play in week 13. And the Hotties, I think, get in on points at 7-6. I think they go win-win and get in on points. So Potomac, Crapstone, Chernobyl, Butte Pirates top 4, Border Collies, Smugglers, Flint Tropics, Hotties would be the bottom 4. Be some interesting matchups in week 1. Potomac Hotties, Crapstone Tropics, Tin Whiskers Smugglers, ooh, Border Collies, Butte Pirates. Oh, I would love to see those 4 games in week 1. Well, let's get on to week 12 pick'em. It's going to be an interesting week this week. There's some big games. First up, Baton Rouge Border Collies take on the Trouser Snakes. For the Border Collies, they're starting Joe Flacco over Matty Ice, and I like it. And I think it makes a difference this week. Actually, I don't think it really matters. I think they could bench their quarterback and still crush the Trouser Snakes. Brady and VJax are going to need 25 plus each to even keep this close. I think in a must-win game for the Trouser Snakes, Collies crush them. What do you guys think?
I got to go with my boys, Demarius and Graham. They're going to turn it on for about 35 points for Jay and, get them a W.
I don't know. I think I'm going to go against you guys here on this one and pick the Trouser Snakes. I like what they've done. Vincent Jackson just seems to be Mike Glennon's security blanket over there. He's probably going to have a big game. And Tom Brady, against Denver, I think that could be a little bit of a shootout there. So I like the Trouser Snakes.
All right, Chernobyl Tin Whiskers, they're going to Buffalo this week. For the Tin Whiskers, Peyton Manning, Jordy Nelson, Alshon Jeffrey, Andre Johnson, all with just crazy good matchups. Yahoo would place them as green matchups. But for the Buffalo Armadillos, not as fortunate. Kaepernick versus Washington, that's a good one. He's got a lot of tough matchups beyond that. It's all about points for Washington. So I'm saying Tin Whiskers crush them. I think Tin Whiskers put up over 100. I think those 4 players alone might put up 80 to 90, somewhere in that range. I think there's no chance for Buffalo to win this week. It's all about points. I don't think they score very many points, which is why I didn't pick them to make the playoffs. Your guys, what do you think?
I disagree. I think Armadillos are gonna steal one here. They got some just creamy matchups with Kaepernick against Washington, Spoles against Atlanta, Ridley against Denver, Julius Thomas at New England. They can put up some big freaking numbers there. And the one weak spot of Vance's squad here is his running backs are just shit. Le'Veon Bell, yeah, he'll get a 1-yard TD every other game, but other than that, he's not putting up 100 yards a game. He's giving you 40 and maybe a touchdown. So if he doesn't get a big game out of Peyton and Jordy and Alshon, he's really hard pressed to make a move.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Tin Whiskers on this one. Peyton Manning, it's gonna be a great game. I'm looking forward to that. Jordy, unfortunately, with Tolzien being in there, he's just not what he would be if Rodgers was in there. But
he is playing the Vikings.
So there's something to be said there. Overall, matchup wise and points wise, I like the Tin Whiskers more in this one.
Alrighty, Duluth Draft Dodgers take on the Flint Tropics. Nice week for the Tropics to run into the Dodgers. Dodgers have sold the farm and are putting up a pretty crusty squad for the Tropics. What's his name? Ben Tate? So many Tates. Ben Tate plays Jacksonville this week. Gotta like that. He's now the starter. Andre Brown plays Dallas. Sans Shanley, is that his name? Shanley, the linebacker? So, word on the street is Dallas's running D is going to be bad. Finally, a good week for the Tropics to be starting those two running backs. And for the Dodgers, you know, he's pretty much watching Alfred Morris show his stuff for next year. That's about it. I like the Flint Tropics this week. I'm guessing you two probably feel the same way. If you want to put in some insight, please do. Otherwise, just your pick will be fine.
Yeah, sweep it.
Sweep it for the Tropics. Crapstone Prairie Dogs, they take on the Waco Wrinkle Beasts. Scary week for Crapstone. Marshawn Lynch on bye. Couple tough matchups in there. Could the giant fall to the lowly Wrinkle Beasts? Fell to the Pandas. I mean, he usually shows up against the good teams, and when the bad teams come a-knocking, he falls. I think Drew Brees has a monster game tomorrow night. I think a lot of those go to Jimmy Graham, hence my Border Collies pick from earlier. Weirder things have happened. I know I'm not the only one in the room feeling this. Waco Wrinkle Beasts get the upset. Your thoughts?
I don't think it's going to be a 28-point split, but I still believe the Prairie Dogs take the W here.
Yeah, it's oh god, I'm gonna be pulling for the Wrinkle Beast, but I think that firepower over there in Crapstone is just too much. I'm gonna say the Crapstone Prairie Dogs win.
We're just praying for injuries. My matchup. All right, next up we got the Pandas hosting the Wallets. Nobody wants to see this. We got. Let's see, back up, and then Cleveland's defense for me, so that's great. RG3 against San Francisco for the Wallets. I mean, he's kind of been turning it on lately, but that's still a tough defense regardless of the numbers they've been putting up this year. Marshall against St. Louis, good matchup. Shorts against Houston. Somehow being 2-8 or whatever 2-9, whatever the hell they are for Houston. They still have a phenomenal pass defense. Very, very, very. I don't know.
Strange.
Lots of words.
Thesaurus.
Although running backs for Wallets, MJD and Rice. I mean,
No way those two scored 23 points
they're-
as they're projected.
I mean, they're probably more looking at a Brian Leonard, Lamar Miller range for points this week. It's projected to be a 20-point swing for the Wallets. I believe they'll win, but I also think it won't be that far of a spread. I think a more 80-72 is my guess.
80 points.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be tough. I think this one's gonna be really close. I don't really like Robert Griffin against the 49ers. You know, and Brandon Marshall against St. Louis, like their defense has kind of come around lately. And again, I think Ray Rice and Maurice Jones-Drew don't live up to their potential. So I'm gonna say that the Polish Sausage will squeak this one out. Barely.
Boy, oh boy, this is a tough one, and I've had a couple wins this year with 50 or 60 points. I think the winner of this game will score 60 points. Baltimore plays the Jets. If the Geno Smith we saw last week shows up, yeah, I mean the Baltimore defense could put up a 30-burger. But I don't think that's going to happen. He's been up and down, roller coaster ride all season. I think he's going to be just fine this week. I hate the Sausage Waltz this week. I mean, this could be the lowest scoring team in the league this week. I would much rather have Mike Glennon over RG3. I'd rather have T.Y. I'd rather have Marshall over T.Y., but I'd rather have Ruben Randall over Cecil Shorts this week. I'm going Pandas. I think they win, somewhere in that 60 to 70 range to 40.
Yes!
So then we got the Sioux City Smugglers taking on the Hollywood Hotties in what should be a pretty close matchup. The Hotties have Russell Wilson on bye, but unfortunately the Smugglers have AJ Green and Gio Bernard on bye. So it's going to be a little bit of a rough matchup. The Smugglers were really hoping that Wes Welker's ready to go against New England. That concussion really hurts, and we don't have a great backup plan in place. So other than that, I don't know. Lacey without I can hear Kyle peeing. Lacey without Aaron Rodgers, he just hasn't lived up to those double-digit projections really. Chicago's D has St. Louis. They're doing decent. 10 points feels reasonable there. I don't know. This one's going to be really tight. Obviously, I'm going to take my Smugglers because that's what you got to do. But it's going to be tight, and it's for the Smugglers, it might hinge on Welker playing or not.
Might also hinge on the Hotties getting a quarterback, but I think the Hotties got something going with Andre Brown, Lacey, Stacy, Vereen. Those are 4 pretty solid guys. If Vereen gets some rushing carries now after his first week back. Colston, who the hell knows? But against Atlanta, that always seems to be a tighter game than you'd think, and especially this year with how shitty Atlanta is, that could very well be the case again. For the Smugglers, I guess a lot of it hinges on if Welker's out, that could really throw a wrench in the old sphincter. You don't want something named Chris Durham as your number 2 wide receiver going into a pivotal matchup week 12. But as is, I got to go Hotties on this one. I think they got more solid guys as far as this week and better chance of pulling one out.
All right. I think the opposite of the last game where we were going to see a 60-40. I think this is a high-scoring affair. The question mark is, who do the Hotties start at quarterback? There's not a lot of options on the waiver wire. Who? Ponder. Ponder's going to be starting. Last week they got 27 out of Antonio Brown. That doesn't happen again. He's going to draw Joe Hayden in Cleveland. He could have less than 5 points very easily. Other than that, though, you got to like what you see for the Hotties. They got some nice matchups. St. Louis, I don't even know the name of their quarterback, but they're playing Chicago, and Chicago D's starting. So could you see a pick 6 in that game? Yeah, you could. For the Smugglers, Wes Welker, I think there's no way in hell Wes Welker doesn't play against his old team. I think not only does he play against his old team, I think he has a huge game. I think the Smugglers win this game. I think it's a very high-scoring affair, which is good for the Hotties because they're going to need points to get into the playoffs. Hotties lose, Smugglers win. I'm going to say 121 Smugglers, 117 Hotties. It's sweaty game. So Zach Stacy's going to have a monster week. Last matchup, my Potomac Pretenders. They're going to clinch the league this week. We play the Butte Pirates. I got McCoy and Foles on bye. I'm not that worried about it. I'm a little worried about it. I'm not that worried about it. For my Pretenders, Eli versus Dallas. Last time they played Dallas, it was something like 436-4. That would be nice again. Torrey Smith, I've been sitting on him all year. I think this is the week. Not sure who he plays because I didn't write it down, but he plays the Jets, Jets. Last week they got burned for some long TDs by some no-name. I think the same happens this week. For the Butte Pirates, Cruz is back. He had a lot of yards last week, and you got to figure if Eli is going to be throwing all his touchdowns, there probably at least one's going to go to Cruz, which I'll take my chance with. And Gore versus Washington is a nice matchup. Frank Gore hoping to get back on the horse here for the Butte Pirates. I don't think outside of that anyone has that great of a game. I think the Pretenders win this game, and with Crapstone losing, I lock up the number 1 seed. Get excited. Jonas and I can just start our kickers in week 8 or week 13. That'll be exciting. Pretenders win, clinch the league. With that, thank you boys for joining me under the foreskin. Oh yeah, you guys get to pick. I'm sorry. It's almost irrelevant, but you guys can pick.
All right, well, based on that, then just the matchups alone, I don't like Eli Manning against Dallas. Torrey Smith against the Jets. That's a tough one. And Joique Bell, I mean, they're back on turf this week. The Lions are at home against Tampa. So, I don't know. And he's starting Miles Austin, who he's been a disappointment this year. I mean, other than that, though, the bright spots are definitely Kansas City's defense. And, Jamal Charles, I think he's going to be just fine. But looking over at the Butte Pirates, they've got some decent matchups. I think the Giants will be down. They'll have to throw the ball to Cruz. Ducker will probably get some work in there. Gore, I mean, he's going to be fine. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Butte Pirates in this one and say that the Pretenders lock it up next week.
Wow.
Butte Pirates, baby. Pretenders go down.
We'll see what happens. No one ever picks for me in this Under the Foreskin Studios besides myself, but who's 8-2. That's right. And 1. I call that Mike Smith still. Go back to week 6 if you want to hear that story. With that, thank you both for joining me in Under the Foreskin Studios. Until next time, follow us on Twitter at SJU Misfits, the youtube.com/SJU and Misfits. Until next week, good luck out there on the gridiron. To the bar, that's right. Thank you.